Across the wires and through the air, those who seek will find me there. Story, wonder, voice, and art, find the ears and find the heart. There's a quiet hour in most towns, just before the day fully awakens. The streetlights are still glowing faintly against a pale sky. Delivery trucks hum through intersections. Somewhere a coffee shop door opens, and the smell of roasted beans drifts into the cool morning air. Somewhere else, a crow hops across the parking lot, head cocked and listening. This might not look like a magical landscape, but for the witch that knows how to look, this place is alive with currents. Energy moves through the wires above your head. Water flows beneath the streets through hidden pipes and culverts. Birds navigate invisible aerial highways, and people pass by carrying emotions, stories, and intentions like little weather systems, all of their own making. Magic is here. It's everywhere, and it always has been. Welcome, dear listener, to Wishcrafting, the podcast where together we attune ourselves to the ever-present currents of magic all around us. Today, I want to talk about something that I think modern witchcraft desperately needs more of, and that is becoming a local witch. When we look back through history and folklore, the folks we might look at today as witches weren't practitioners of a universal, placeless magic. Most spirituality, whatever the flavor, was a practice of place. These practitioners lived on the edges of villages, in cottages near the woods, or in small homes on the outskirts of town. And people knew where to find them, there along the edges. They were the person that you visited when your cow wouldn't give milk, when your child was ill, when you needed protection before a journey. Priests, priestesses, wise women, cunning folk, mediums, healers, and more, as well as their magic, worked because they knew the land. They knew which herbs grew in which ditches, and they knew the stories told about the old hill outside of town. They knew which stream flooded in the spring, and which tree lightning tended to strike. In other words, they were local specialists, and their skill was born from relationship. Relationship with the land, relationship with the spirits of place, the genus loci, relationship with the plants, animals, and people around them. In many ways, what we could now consider witchcraft was simply the art of knowing your home deeply. Modern witchcraft sometimes forgets this. We live in an age where information travels instantly, and that is really cool and beautiful in many ways. It means that traditions can be preserved, shared, and studied widely. But it can also create something strange, a placeless kind of magic. A person in Arizona only working with Scandinavian forest spirits, for example, or someone in New York building their entire practice around plants that only grow in European hedgerows. There's nothing inherently wrong with exploring traditions that inspire you. But when magic loses its relationship with place, something very important disappears. The practitioner becomes disconnected from the very landscape that holds them. And yet, magic exists everywhere. Not just in forests and ancient groves. It exists in cities, in suburbs, alongside highways, in apartment balconies, even in parking lots. The land beneath all of those places still remembers what it once was, and it would be silly of us to assume that we are the only beings capable of adaptability. Today, many practitioners now live in cities, Cities, in their own way, are wild ecosystems. The energy running through them is immense. I mean, think about it. Electricity pulses through miles and miles and miles of wires and underground grids. Traffic flows through the streets like a circulating bloodstream. Buildings absorb decades, sometimes centuries, of human emotion. Thousands of people move through the same spaces every day, each carrying their own hopes, fears, joys, and frustrations. That is a lot of energy. And a local witch learns how to notice those currents. Some of these witches quietly shield their energy while moving through crowded spaces, creating small wards around themselves on busy trains or sidewalks. And that is so real and so valid because that energy is a lot. I myself am usually doing this. But sometimes there are moments I find where I can tap into the electrical pulse and feel the rhythm of the city's living circuitry. Have you ever fallen asleep in transit, letting the motion of the car or bus or train carry you into a quiet trance as the city rushes past the windows? This is a current, and the difference between mundane and magical is just a decision away. Even mundane things can become magical avenues. Consider birds, those incredible survivors of the urban landscape. They are beloved by many mundane folk and allied by even more urban witches. That's because pigeons, crows, sparrows, and hawks know the city in ways that humans often never will. A local witch learns to notice them and to greet them and, most importantly, to listen. Magic is rarely about escaping your environment, but rather about entering it fully, at least in my world. Witchcraft already doesn't require much, but folk witchcraft, local witchcraft especially, rarely needs elaborate tools. Often the most powerful items are the ones that you already have in your pocket. A pen and paper can create sigils anywhere. A lighter becomes a portable spark of transformation. Your house key can act as a ward, a symbol of the threshold, or a tool for protection. A small mirror can serve for reflection, glamour work, or simple divination. Your sunglasses can become a shield, not just for sunlight, but for unwanted energy. Your phone might hold moon phases, plant identification apps, maps, and notes from all of your magical explorations. These are not expensive tools, and that's on purpose. Folk magic has always belonged to ordinary people. And the magic was never in the objects themselves, it was in how the practitioner uses it, works with it, knows it. If someone asked me the fastest way to become a local witch, my answer would be very simple. Learn what's around you. Get to know the flora and fauna of your area. Start in your yard. Start outside your home. Look to the sky. There might be birds sitting on a telephone wire. There might be a weed growing in the crack on the sidewalk. But no matter where you are or where you look, there's always something to notice, something to get to know. This alone can ground and transform your magical practice. Every place on Earth has a community of plants that grow there naturally. These are the species that evolved alongside the soil, climate, insects, birds, and animals of that place. They are the native plants, and they can be incredible teachers. When you begin to recognize them, really recognize them, you will start to see the land differently. You notice the milkweed in roadside ditches feeding monarch butterflies. You notice the tough little weeds pushing through the cracks in the pavement. You learn the trees that anchor the landscape, oaks, maples, pines, or whatever other species calls your region home. Each of them carries a story, wisdom, folklore, medicinal use, and so much more. And it's not just the plants. When you notice what species around you also calls your city home, suddenly your spell work is not limited to herbs shipped in jars, often from across the world. Suddenly the relationship to the place beneath your feet gains that much more depth. Even the non-native species got there somehow, and it's all part of the story of your local ecosystem, an ecosystem that you are a part of. You, right now, are surrounded by living allies, animals, birds, insects, plants, even the wind, sun, moon, and sky. They're all part of the ecosystem that sustains your home. Watching them teaches you the rhythm of the land. It teaches you where water flows, when seasons change, when storms are coming. And for the modern practitioner, this knowledge becomes a form of living magic. Many traditions around the world recognize something called the spirits of place. The Romans called it the genus loci, and that is the term that is most commonly used in modern materials on witchcraft. And it is the idea that every landscape has its own presence, or presences, a type of consciousness that emerges from the land itself. When you spend time paying attention to a place, you begin to feel that spirit. You begin to notice the layers of history beneath your feet. Maybe the parking lot at your work was once a grand forest. Maybe the neighborhood you live in was once a farm. Maybe the river nearby once flowed through wetlands that no longer exist. All of those histories still echo through the landscape. A local witch learns to feel those echoes and to form a relationship to their modern adaptations. My dear listener, if you would like to begin exploring this path, I have a very simple practice for you. Take a walk through your neighborhood. No headphones, no rushing, just you and your observations. During your walk, I want you to find 3 things: one plant, one creature, and one strange or interesting place. Maybe it's an old tree, an abandoned building, or a bridge. It can be anything that calls to you. When you get home, record them, research them, learn the plant's name, look up the bird that you noticed and its habits. See if there are stories connected to that place that called to you. Write these discoveries down in a notebook or grimoire, and over time, these notes will become something powerful if you continue this practice of growing your relationship to the genus loci. A personal map of the magic that lives exactly where you are. So many of us, especially in the United States, feel a sense of unrootedness thanks to colonialism. But when you practice locality, your witchcraft doesn't have to travel very far to find enchantment, or to find roots, or to find connection. That's because magic never leaves. It's always there. It lives in the cracked sidewalks, in the weeds pushing through concrete, in the birds that refuse to abandon their city, in the quiet corners of parks and alleyways, in the stories people tell about the old bridge at the edge of town. Wherever you are, there's magic there. And it asks that you learn its language and listen. My dear listener, that's all I have for you today. A short and sweet episode on locality and unrootedness, urban magic, and just being a local practitioner. I hope you got something from it. And if you'd like to see any more of my work, please check the show notes. You'll find everything you need, both to talk to me and seek out more of my work, right there. Until next time, my name is Wishamaya. Don't forget to keep your roots deep and your dreams wild.